the Cash Kelly and AC Sports Report. We got a huge guest for you tomorrow, and you guys are going to have to stick around to find who it is. Let's just say he's big and he plays in the NFL. Now, speaking of the NFL, and we're going to have to ask his opinion on this one, the NFL not only is reportedly, they're having all these issues with coming into CBA. It sounds like they may go on a strike, but at the same time, they're trying to add an 18-game season in. And before I go, AC, what's your opinion on this 18-game season?
Well, you got to look at this from the player standpoint, and you got to look at this from the fan standpoint. From the fan standpoint, would you want to see more games in a season? Yeah, I think the NFL season is the shortest in pro sports. So yeah, I would love to see more games. But you look at this from a player standpoint, and you think, wow, I'm wiped out after every game. It takes a real physical toll, and we see the physical toll that it takes on the players. And I don't think a lot of players are going to be in favor of this. I think a 17-week season, 16-game season is enough. It's gonna push the playoffs back. You got to look at that. So I've heard a lot of different opinions on this. But you got to look at it from both standpoints. I really don't think that it's going to happen. Like you said, I don't even know if there's going to be a league next year. So
yeah, they need to figure that type of thing out before they worry about having an 18-game season. The 18-game season, you can push that back to voting on that next year, rather than voting on that at the same time as we're trying to just next year. Players say playing in the game is like being in a minor car or a major car crash. So it's not exactly fun to come out of an NFL game. It's fun to play in it, or they wouldn't be doing it. But coming out of it, your body really takes a toll. And we see all these guys right now who are up in their 60s and 70s, and now that we know what concussions are and we know all the signs and everything, they're having bad brain issues, they can't walk, things like that. And for me, if it ain't broke, they don't have to fix it. I mean, the NFL is at the best stage it's ever been in the history of the league. It's the most popular sport in America. It's attempting to branch off into other countries, which I think is an epic fail. But it's at the point now where I don't see a need to fix it. I like the 17-game season. This is the only sport where you can say every single game matters. This and college football, because they have short seasons, every single game matters. If you lose one game, you might not make the playoffs. It's as simple as that. Ask the Giants, who just kind of got lazy against the Eagles, miracle at the Meadowlands. If you lose one game, it changes the whole course of your season. Add 2 more games in there, and you might be able to recover a bit. So I don't see a need to do that. And fans want to see the first-string guys, to me. So if you're talking about adding 2 more games, there's a better chance that a guy like a Peyton Manning's injured. So, to me, if Manning's injured going into the playoffs, it's not a good product for the NFL to be putting out on that field.
Yeah, I think what you said really hit the nail on the head. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, I don't think, fans are going to have a huge problem with it if it stays the way it is. I know I won't, because I like it the way it is. Because like you said, every single game matters. You look at it from the MLB. Okay, you lose 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row. Big deal. Big freaking deal. You play 162 games. The NFL, you play 16. If you lose a game to a division rival or someone late in the season, your season is done. It's done. It's over. So there's a sense of urgency, and I think that's why people like it so much. So if we add games to it, it's going to take away. Probably not too much, because it's still only 1 or 2 more games in a season, but it's going to take away from the sense of urgency and the need to win games, and I think it's going to take away from the excitement, too.
Yeah, I agree with that. And back to the NFL needs to fix other issues first. Not only do they have the CBA coming up, they got to put a new salary cap in with this whole thing. You still have to make sure there's a season next year. You got to worry about players now are lobbying to get rights after they're done playing. There's teams that can't even draw during the 8 home games. They can't draw enough to sell out the stadium so the games can be on TV or anything. So there's other more pressing issues in my mind. And the fact is, the NFL's in a good state right now, and I don't see a need to change anything.
Yeah, the NFL is putting this 18-game thing kind of on a pedestal. I think more or less to distract the people from the fact that they have so many other issues going on right now that they need to fix. So I don't think that, like you said, there's much more pressing issues, and this could kind of take a backseat in my mind. I don't really care one way or another if this happens. If it happens, okay. If it doesn't, fine with me. But let's make sure we have some NFL games to actually play next season.
Yeah. Like, if there's no NFL games next season, it's not going to matter if there's 15 or 16 games or 18 games. It's not going to matter. And the people might say they want it, but I don't think they're going to understand what impact it has on it. Let's take Michael Vick, for example. They played 16 games this season, not counting the playoff game. And Vick became the starter basically in the middle of game 1. But he missed 4 or 5 games due to injuries and things like that. So it's not exactly like players are staying healthy. Not everyone's pulling a Peyton Manning where you've played every single game of your career. Players get hurt. It's a tough grind. I mean, I'm not even talking about the quarterbacks. I'm talking about that 33-year-old offensive lineman who won't sit out no matter what, that ends up getting brain damage after his career's over. And I think when you look at it in that sense, you realize there's really no need to add more games than you already have. It's a good product out on the field. Fans like it. The players like it. If the players don't like it, then they can get out of the league. But 18 games is too much. And I've heard, obviously, they'd be taking away 2 preseason games, which in the fans' opinion, yeah, go ahead. But I think the players, I heard Mike Golick on Mike and Mike say that, you know, I made the team because of those extra preseason games where I got a shot to play. And I don't know. This is a big money grab by the owners. That's all this is. The owners are going to sell that this is for the fans. They just want to make more money, and it's as simple as that.
It's always about the money for everybody in the league. It's not even about the product on the field anymore. But you know, you look at it has its ups and downs. This 18-game thing. I'm not in favor of it. I'm not against it. But like you said, with the physical toll on the players, running backs in the NFL,
they'll get killed. You're gonna have to have 2 or 3 starting running backs on a team going into the preseason.
Exactly. Running backs have the shortest tenure of any athlete in the entire sporting world.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about a running back, you're talking about him having a 2 or 3 season career because of those, like, say, one that is on a good team that goes deep into the playoffs and, you know, his body's going to take a toll. He's going to have 2 or 3 season window, and compared to the 4 or 5 one they get now, which is already pretty short, and I just don't see a need to make this season any bigger.
To be an elite running back in the NFL, the average span for a career of a running back is 8 or 9 seasons.
Yeah,
that's incredible. So if you play more than that, wow, you're a tough mofo. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, but I mean the average span for being an elite running back in this NFL is about 2 years. Look at LT. He's still in the NFL, but he's not in a position where he's an elite running back in my mind. Look at Sean Alexander. I mean, the guy's on the cover of Madden, and 2 years later, he can't even find a job in the NFL. I mean, it's a tough league, and if you get if you get hit wrong one time, your career's over. And you know, you don't get benefits till you've been in this league 2 full seasons. And from what I've been told, the average span is a season and a half for a player, and they need to work out a lot of other things if they're going to put in this 18-game season. I'm Tim. He's AC. It's the Kashkelly and AC Sports Report. Stay tuned. Big guest tomorrow. And, hey, at least the NFL is smarter than baseball where they put in full instant replay and make the playoffs longer. We'll see you later.